So, real quick, I want to talk about life and just shit that happens to you and just how to deal with it, right? So, life can throw you curveballs. A couple weeks ago, actually, like a month and a half ago, I figured out my grandparents were in the hospital. My grandfather died like last week. I just figured that out. Went to the family get together, seen everyone. Um, Realized most of my family thinks they seem like they think I'm a drug addict or something, right? Um, I got in an argument one time with my cousin about giving children medication, like Adderall and things like that, and how I disagree with it, and how I think it's child abuse. And I didn't know that she was giving her child some medication for something. I don't think it was that, but um, so she blocked me on Facebook for that, and this was the first time I seen her or talked to her ever since. And it had me thinking how it's so crazy how it's kind of bullshit that a death brings the family together, and how it's like none of us would have seen each other if it wasn't for our grandfather dying. And you know, I don't know, it just made me think, and everyone, and a lot of people, even not just my family, but people in general, how like nowadays the world has this view of, now you can see me, the world has this view of like someone who uses psychedelics as a drug user, or someone who doesn't have a job is a bum, or someone who, because I live with my mom and I've been living with my mom for like 8 months, so people look at me like a bum and this, that, and the third, but it's like, I'm chasing something much bigger than my situation right now. You have to be able to see past where you're at right now. And that's what what I've been doing with my grandfather's death is thinking about it, just reminiscing about the good times. I cried about it. I was trying to hold it in for the longest, and then eventually, I just shattered. And even now, it's, a little rough talking about it, because it's like, my grandfather was a huge influence in my life. He taught me philosophy in a way. He used to sit there and, lecture me, or sit there and talk to me, philosophize with me, and tell me about his life. And, I remember his whole life story, how he like had to, had to work at 6 years old to help his mom pay help mom pay for food and the bills and things like that. And it's like, he would get paid 6 cents an hour. And, it's like, and he was 6 years old, working on a farmland. He was born the year of the Great Depression, so like it was really rough. He had cardboard shoes that his mom made for him. He had to walk 2 miles to school. Like it was a whole different era, and it was extremely rough for him. But it's like, but to see him make it through it, and to see him successful in his own way by the end of his life, it's amazing, because success to me is different than success to you and success to everyone. We all have our different versions of success, right? But genuinely, success is just fulfillment. And if you're fulfilled in life, then you're successful. So, my grandfather was fulfilled because my grandparents' relationship is like what I base a marriage supposed to be like, right? My grandmother stuck it out with him through thick and thin back when he was like fucking around and drinking. And he since I've been born, he hasn't been drinking, but apparently he was an alcoholic at one point and used to cheat on my grandmother. And but there's just many situations that have happened in their life, but yet by the end of it, they were like still stronger than ever, like the most strongest love I've ever seen in a couple ever. And it's beautiful. And it's kind of sad that my grandmother now is she's kind of on her own. I'm going to see her for Mother's Day, so I think that'll be awesome. I'm going to stay up there with her and, probably cook her dinner and things like that. But I don't know. It definitely made me think about life and how you should spend every moment you can. And you know what really made me shatter? And I mean, I really don't want to cry now because I'm in such a good mood, and I've kind of mourned, and I'm looking at it as life, is what it is, and there's nothing we can do about things like this. And this is what Buddha prepared his whole life for, and like learned. This is why Buddha did what he did, to figure out how to deal with suffering. How do we deal with suffering as a human race? And you accept it. It just is what it is. And because it just is what it is, you learn from it, you grow from it, you mourn from it, I don't know, you change your life because of it. You use it as motivation. It's using that darkness as motivation, using the hard times as fuel to get to the good times. But I don't know, it made me think, because like when my grandfather was in the hospital, right? I had an opportunity to see him, but they were doing good, so I thought. I mean, everything looked like they were doing good, so I didn't go see him, right? And I feel like shit because I didn't go see him. And it really sucks because my grandparents think I'm the old me. And the old me was just this thug, this bum, this guy who didn't really know anything, wasn't really educated. They don't understand. Like, I never got to explain to my grandfather how much of an influence he had on me. I never got to explain to him, just, I don't know, how much of a different man I am. Because one of the last conversations, not the last, but the second to last conversation I had with him, he was saying maybe I should go into the army, to help, mold me into a man. And it's because he thought I was still this, wannabe thug, just living off my mom, being a bum, And it's like, I just wish I could have shown him I've turned myself into a man over time of going through hard times and learning from them, starting a business and having it fail, having kids when I wasn't ready for it, all this shit, getting locked up when I was 14, I couldn't explain psychedelics to him, but even psychedelics have, made all these things put together has made me a man, right? Meditation, just observing life, like, I don't know, how I have this routine now. I have this daily routine where, I do 50 push-ups a day, I do this, I do that, like, I have my life set up like a schedule, like, I'm chasing my dreams. I'm not just saying this, I'm actually doing it, and I'm actually starting things and risking things, and, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to do the impossible. But the impossible is not impossible. It's been done before, so therefore it is not impossible. Because it's been done before. But I'm glad that I get to talk to my grandmother. I'm glad she's still alive, and I'm glad that, I've got to see her, and that I get to see her again, and I get to explain to her a little more, how much of a man that I'm becoming, and how I'm growing, and how it's not what it looks like. Because a lot of people, it just looks like I'm just some guy living off my mom. And it's not even like that, because, like, I don't necessarily live off my mom. I don't know. I'm trying to do something different because the world is stuck in this fucking trap. This trap where people just work to pay the bills and to barely get by. And I think my family deserves more than that. And I don't know, I have so many business ideas, and I know one of them will do well. And I have so many seeds already planted. That's what I wish I could show. That I already have so many seeds planted. I wish I could show that, I wish I could show you guys, like, all my 5 chapters in my book that I've written. I wish I can show you guys that this album / like EP that I'm making, I'm working on all the beats, and the beats are almost done. Now I'm working on some of the songs for the lyrics. Like, these are all things in progress, but none of them are bringing me income right now. So then people look at me like, oh, why don't you just get a job? I'm going to get a job, but I have a time limit with myself, because people settle for less too often, and people take the easy way out way too quickly. The easy way, people say, oh, why don't you get a job? It's not that hard. Exactly. It's not that hard. Anyone can do it. Anyone. I don't want to do something that anyone can do. I want to do something that only I can do, because that's what you're born to do. If whatever you can do that other people can't, that's what you're supposed to do with your life. That. You know, my grandfather and my grandmother, like, kind of taught me balance. They're like yin and yang, because my grandfather was, like, a little more stern, get a job, do this, do that. He had his envisionment of what success is, right, of what a man is. The typical man from the 1950s type shit. That was his version of a man. But my grandmother was more, do what makes you happy, right? Do it. But she also wants me to, like, get my GED. She also wants me to get a job, try to balance it out. Do what makes you happy, but also have income. But I get that, you know, and that's why I have this time limit with myself where it's like, I feel like I'm only giving myself a certain amount of time. If I don't start making income with this herbal business that I'm getting ready to launch again, because my first herbal business didn't work because all I was selling was kratom. This one will work because I'll be selling a few more products, extracts, things like this, things like that. I'm also working on trying to get CBD flower. I'm also working on trying to get, some shamanic tools, and like I'm probably gonna have a separate website, like a shamanic website and like an herbal website, and they both sell herbal products, but the shamanic website's gonna have a more stronger products made for shamanic experiences. But I don't know, I just have all these ideas, right? I have this idea for maybe eventually starting a radio station or like some type of website where I have my podcast and a few other podcasts on there, a few of my friends, podcasts, and a few of my, just a place where you can go and get psychedelic podcasts and just listen, whether you're on the go or whatever you want to do with your life. I have so many ideas, video ideas, documentary ideas. I'm trying to work on ways to get these things monetized, and not monetizing through YouTube, but more honestly through advertising, like trying to make documentaries and have people sponsor these documentaries, or even with the podcast, have people sponsor the podcast, because I'm getting ready to launch my podcast again, and I don't know. I'm just going to try to do everything in my head, because if I don't, it's never going to get done. So, yeah. This is just everything that's on my mind. Man. So beautiful out here. Enjoy life. Enjoy time with the people you love. If somebody you love is dying, go see them. Don't be like me, where it's like, I just didn't have a ride. I don't drive. I don't have a license. I didn't have a ride. My ride couldn't take me until a certain time, and when he could take me, I wasn't really ready to go. So then I said, oh no, we'll go next week. But then next week was unavailable for us to go because my grandfather died. So that's just, yeah. Learn from other people's mistakes. That's true intelligence. And enjoy this life. So many people, like, I have this weird view on death because of my psychedelic experiences. So, like, yeah, I believe that we are just interdimensional beings, and that when we die, we just go to another dimension, and this other dimension is what I call DMT space. DMT takes you to this place. Ayahuasca takes you to this place. And I feel like humans, that's just what life is, but it does not make it easier because, like, yeah, I could do DMT. And, I mean, ayahuasca, people who use ayahuasca, the shamans, they would say, yeah, you could do ayahuasca and see the ancestors, see the dead people. And yeah, my grandfather might be able to show himself to me, but it's not going to be him. You know what I mean? Like, it's him, but it's not him, because we are us, but we're not us. Our personality, our human personality is just a collective of the things that have happened to us in our life. But the core you are your, like, there's a certain you that's still you, no matter what dimension you're in. And, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure in another dimension you can probably show yourself in the form you were just in, but it probably takes a lot of energy and a lot of whatever. And I don't want to really get deep into my own spiritual beliefs and what I believe, but just know, no matter what the fuck you believe, it does not make it easier. When somebody you love dies, you will shatter. And if not, you'll hold it in and be bitter. But it's going to happen to all of us, so meditate about it. Learn to enjoy your life still. Learn to love. Spend time with the people you love. When someone you love dies, it makes you appreciate all the time with other people that you love that are still here. So, yeah. Love you guys.